Hello students, my name is Ms. Sweta Shyam Matonkar. I am an assistant professor at Carmel College for Women, NUE, Goa. The title of the unit is Lifestyle to Enhance Health and Prevent Illness, and the name of the module is Health Enhancing Behaviors, Weight Control Part 2. The outline of the session is evaluation of the treatments of obesity. According to the learning outcomes, you will be able to explain the different types of treatments of obesity and describe the merits and demerits of the treatments. Obesity has become a global epidemic which needs to be addressed, and the treatment of the same is very difficult because it all depends upon the individual's motivational factors to reduce their weight. And that's the reason why we have a lot of cases of relapse, and that's why we say that treatment of obesity becomes very difficult. But then there are people who are obese and they are seeking out for treatment for a number of reasons, such as health risks. There are certain people who feel that their obesity is a health risk and then they seek out treatment. Some people even suffer from eating disorders like binge eating, wherein they go on and on and on eating with having obesity at the same time. And then there is social stigma that is related to obesity, wherein obesity is stigmatized as something that whose fault lies in the individual itself. Now, the first type of treatment that we are doing is dieting. In dieting, you restrict your caloric or your carbohydrate intake, but here the weight loss is very small because dieting alone cannot help you to reduce your weight, and this weight loss is rarely maintained for long because of the motivational factors that you do not have for a long period of time. Now, dieting can also compromise your psychological functioning, such as you will have an impaired concentration level, you will be preoccupied with the thoughts of food because that's something that you have majorly altered in your life. Then you will go on eating, that is hogging food, that is binge eating, and you will experience a lot of psychological distress, all because of dieting. The second type of treatment is fasting, wherein you completely restrict food intake over a period of few days. Some people do eat food or do have some liquids, but they are very less in terms of its calories. Now here you are promised to have a rapid weight loss, but you can rapidly gain your weight all over again as soon as you resume with your habitual eating. That's the reason why your treatment of fasting is usually supplemented with other treatment techniques, because fasting alone can be very much detrimental to one's health. The third type of treatment is surgery, and these surgeries are mostly related to your gastric surgeries, that is your stomach surgeries, wherein your stomach is exactly stapled up so that it does not have the capacity to hold more amount of food, and hence the individual will eat less amount of food. These surgeries can have its side effects such as gastric and intestinal distress or pain, and that's the reason why this treatment is specifically meant for people who are 100% overweight, who have tried and failed losing weight and have complications related to health, because of which surgery becomes very much urgent. The fourth type of treatment is appetite suppressing drugs, wherein you are given drugs over here to help you lose weight, but it is done in a combination of cognitive behavioral intervention, wherein you work on your cognitive thoughts, you work on your behavior as well. Now, this promises you a substantial weight loss, but again there can be a substantial weight gain over here due to low perceived self-efficacy. That means people who consider their weight loss or attribute the reason for their weight loss completely to the drugs and not to their own efforts are the ones who are having low perceived self-efficacy. They don't have self-belief in terms of getting to a particular desired effect, and that's the reason why they gain back their weight. Now, there are certain food additives which can help you decrease your appetite, such as the fructose, that also works like a drug. The next treatment is the multimodal approach that helps you in kind of rectifying your maladaptive eating behaviors. What happens here is there is a combination of treatments, wherein the first step or the first stage is screening, wherein we are trying to see whether the client is ready and motivated to lose weight. We take a case history as to understanding what were the diets that he or she has already tried, how much weight was lost and how much was gained back again, whether the individual is dissatisfied with his body and has a low self-esteem, and accordingly we come up with a treatment specified according to his problems. The second stage is self-monitoring, wherein the individual monitors his or behavior by keeping a record of what, when, where and how much amount of food he or she has eaten. This helps the individual to define his eating behavior, and along with that they realize a lot of things with regard to their eating behavior which they otherwise wouldn't have. Now, in this stage you also have to modify certain stimuli, specifically stimuli that makes you overeat. For example, a nice pastry in your refrigerator will will tempt you to overeat, so you have to modify it with some raw vegetables. You have to change your circumstances. That means you have to confine yourself to a particular place and a particular time wherein you will be regularly eating your food. You also have to develop certain discriminative stimuli. What this means is, sometimes we say that I want that particular soda and then only I will eat, or I want that particular sauce, then only I will eat. You have to over here come up with discriminative stimuli that are not related to the food. For example, I want this particular candle and then only I will eat, or this particular lamp and then only I will eat. This will also help you to regulate your eating behavior. Now over here in this stage, you also get individualized feedback and management by the authorities, so that you know whether you are on the right track or not. The next stage is control over eating. In this stage, the client is instructed to count each of his mouthfuls of food, or his chews, or his swallowing. Also at this time, the client is also instructed to keep down his utensils once he has a mouthful of food, and then resume eating only once he is done chewing and swallowing of the food. What this will do is, it will introduce longer delays, which will help the individual to slow down eating and override the temptation to eat. So in this way, the individual will enjoy and also savor his food, and at the same time eat very less amounts of food. Over here in this stage, we provide the responsibility to the individual to take the onus of his or her situational consequences. For example, if that person has been successful in keeping the records, in changing the stimuli, and in taking these longer delays, the individual could be going out for a movie with his friends and all that. One thing that I forgot to say is that these delays are introduced initially at the end of the eating session, so that the individual can succeed in the task of delaying. But as the time goes, eventually these delays are introduced right in the beginning of the eating sessions. The next stage is adding exercise. In the initial sessions of the program, you will have high amounts of exercises which will help you in reducing your weight through physical activity, but this has to be maintained by the individual by making exercises interesting and convenient for the person. The next stage is controlling self-talk, wherein we try to identify all those maladaptive thoughts regarding weight loss and its maintenance, such as I will not be able to do it, I have already tried this has not worked for me, and substitute these thoughts with positive self-instruction, such as I can do this and I will definitely lose weight this time. The next stage is social support. It has been found that just a single supportive message by your behavioral therapist over the internet can motivate so many people to lose weight. So in this stage, we try to train the individuals to elicit or to provoke effective support from their families, from their friends, and from their co-workers, which can establish or even motivate them much longer to continue with their weight loss efforts. The last stage of multimodal approach is relapse prevention. In this stage, as we can understand, the person has again relapsed, and due to which we have to start all over again with the screening, that is what really went wrong and why did he start eating a lot, and then matching a specific treatment, restructuring or modifying the stimuli, and rehearsing or developing coping strategies for high risk situations, which means that especially in times of vacations or holidays, there is no self-control in terms of eating. So these situations are rehearsed and coping strategies are developed for the same. Relapse prevention is important for the dieter to come back to his track, but also for self-recrimination, that is self-allegation or self-blame, that has to be reduced. Now, where are these weight loss programs implemented? At worksite weight loss interventions, wherein employees can be divided into two teams, and this can make them compete with one another to lose weight. This has a lot of social support and a competitive spirit to it, because of which it could be successful. The next thing is commercial weight loss programs. These are basically private clinics that promise you to lose weight in no time, but we really do not know whether they are true or not, because they are not open for formal evaluations. Hence their advertisements are very deceptive, comprising of insufficient and misleading information. Now, talking about cognitive behavioral weight loss techniques, it works for some people, but for some people it does not help at all, maybe because they require certain aggressive measures such as drugs or maybe surgery. So it is not just the responsibility of such programs, but it is also the responsibility of us as public to come up with healthy lifestyle that we can teach ourselves and also our children, because childhood is the time wherein we can mold their behavior very easily, as they have not developed any incorrigible habits. It is also important that weight gain prevention is practiced by normal weight adults, because as we age, we have the tendency to gain weight because of the slow metabolic rate. along with pregnant women, and the women who are going through menopause also have chances of gaining weight. Now we can use social engineering strategies such as restricting advertisements for children, or at least having a statutory warning with that, or we can have labels on the products which says the nutritional values of it, or we can have special tax imposed on the food that is considered to be the junk food. At the end, I would like to say that the government can also take part in this by helping the obese people to claim weight loss program fees, so that they can feel motivated to avail such services. And these are your references. Thank you.